You're live.
This is Senate Transportation, and it is January 7th, and we are here with the Rail and Aviation Director, and thank you.
Good morning. Yeah, Dan Delavrier. I'm actually just the Rail Bureau Director now.
Well, your title
And we-
in the,
yeah,
and
we-
the
we-
agenda is.
I'll fix that.
We should correct that. I gave up aviation a little over a year ago. So
Is there an aviation director or did it get?
yeah,
There's-
Evan Robinson. Yeah, we separated rail and aviation. It was separated. We put it together. We took it apart.
There's a lot going on in
Yeah.
rail, so
Yeah.
plenty to do.
Does that mean you couldn't make up your mind or?
It's whatever they asked me to do. So. So yeah, good morning. I was asked to come in to have an open discussion about what we in rail, how we generate revenue on the right of way that we have. Now we have 4 active railroads and then we have 4 rail trail properties. So I have separated them on the report that I sent in, I don't know, a month ago or so. There was an error on the report that it was a math error that was on the original report. So that's why I've given you a new report, because the broadband number in our spreadsheet, when we did the sum, there was a section that wasn't highlighted in the sum total. There's actually more revenue. It's all on the spreadsheet. It just didn't sum at the bottom. And I used the number at the bottom when I gave you the report. So anyway, I'll go over that. So the 148,311 is incorrect, which you don't have in this one. It's 199,888. That is the correct number for broadband on the active rail line. I apologize for the error. So let me just quickly go over how we do it. Again, there's 4 different railroads, active railroads. We have to work with the active railroad to make sure anything that is put in the railroad right away can be done safely and that the railroad doesn't have a conflict with it. So if there's I'll give you an example, if we have to put a hole in or a guy wire or something like that, we have to make sure that that's not in the way of railroad operations. So that's one of the things that's different from rail trails to active rails. It's any lease or license agreement, we have to discuss it with the railroad first to make sure it's all works and we work together. But just going over the report real quickly, and then we can open it up just for discussion. I was asked for what's the total of wired or wireless telephone revenue. We have gone, this number used to be larger. And why I say it was larger, because it used to be just telephone. Now a lot of the companies that provide telephone also provide broadband. So a lot of those have moved from the wired telephone column over into the broadband column. So if they do both, they're in the broadband column. That's where all the revenue shows in this. So that's one of the reasons why, we're 199, almost 200,000 for that and only 5,000 for wired, for telephone. So. And then the third one was leases of right away for the purposes other than operations of railroads. So this could be many, many different things. This could be literally someone asking for a private crossing for a driveway. It could be if there's an abutter. A lot of times there's companies that are up against the railroad that say, well, we want to just expand our parking lot, whatever, into a little bit. You guys aren't using this. We'll look at it and say, are we using it or not? Okay, we're not. Railroad, you're not using it. Okay, do you care? No, we don't care. So we might lease some excess property and charge them a lease just for the excess property. So just to define what these columns are, that's what it is. So it's either telephone, broadband, or other purposes, which are many. And that's what these dollar amounts or these columns, that's what they represent. And again, sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say about this and then.
No, I think I was done, Senator.
So where in this would be, like utility electric companies?
So they would be in, other, because they're not broadband and they're not wireless. So if there was, just say Green Mountain Power, for instance. But see, some of these electrical companies also have, they're
So-
weird. They have like a sister company that has like a broadband or a
So-
communication type thing. Some of them are not all like that.
I served for 6 years on the, Vermont Electric Co-op board.
Okay.
Have been on now for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
There's consistent effort by the utility company to move poles out of, open territory. Pole out in the middle of a meadow someplace. They have consistently been moving everything right up to the right of way of the road. So, and in the Vermont Electric territory, half of their poles are consolidated poles. Half of the poles are Vermont Electric, and they share the usage of the poles in this. So I'm looking at this and going, I don't understand how this all fits together. I see what your dollars amount are, but I don't get do you charge a standard amount for
Yes.
pole?
Yes. Yeah. If you go to our website and there's our rail property management, there's a rate sheet. It shows how much per pole. It shows, if you had a guy wire coming down and it was sticking in our property, or if there was a longitudinal, yeah, line for, so many feet, it's X amount of dollars. If it's just a crossing, if you're just going directly across,
Yeah.
there's a charge for that. So,
Could we, get that sheet?
yeah, like I said, I can send you the link. It's a fairly large document, so I mean, it's easier just to send you a link so that you can go there.
Is it part of the rail lease document, which is, we've seen that before.
Yeah, so we refer to that document in our lease, but we don't, it's not like an attachment to it.
And how has the agency, how did you set those rates to begin with? What are your, and when was the last time the document was updated and
Sure. So the utility charges, so let's just look at this holistically. We in Vermont, the administration is like, let's try to get more broadband. Let's increase this in the state of Vermont. So our fees on utilities like electrical, broadband, telephones, those haven't changed probably in 2004, I think was the last time we've changed them. Been a long time. We have not changed. We have not increased those. Those fees have been the same for a long time. Land leases, where they're doing excess property, nothing to do with the broadband or electrical anything like that. But if they just want like a parking lot, or whatever, we have an appraisal section at AOT, and in 2024 we had them look at our town by town, go through and look at our lease rates, per square foot, and we have a per square foot fee that was updated last in 2024, and that's on that website. It's on that sheet. But the utilities have not been updated in a long time. We are still charging, what we consider to be fair, but they're on the low side.
How do you decide if they're low? Is there?
Compared to, okay, so when I say low side there, if you took like the New England Central private railroad, they're going to charge
They charge.
likely double or a little more than what we charge in the state of Vermont. So we are definitely less than a private railroad.
Yeah, and that's category number 2.
Well, it would be all 3 categories, but
Well, I thought the leases
Well,
that
yeah,
were updated are category 3.
yes, three would be the land leases. Also in category 3 are like power companies, right? So that's not
Hmm.
broadband or telephones, so
Okay.
that's in the other. But yes, that is, probably number 3 is the most up to date as far as like appraised value for land, but the utility side of it hasn't been updated.
Okay, so, category 2 plus the power companies
Yeah,
are the ones that are from roughly 2004.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there any process for review of the rates?
um,
So since 2004, does the agency or
we haven't taken it on purposely because of the push to increase broadband. We would, instead of creating additional hurdles for these folks, we haven't changed our rates and, I'm sure well, I shouldn't speak for them, but I don't think they'd be a fan of it, but
well,
we've got competing interests, right? As we all do
I-
sometimes.
we all have competing interests. We all have trying to understand how we come up with and have looked at a fair rate to
Right.
do this. And it goes back to the overall, we have an agency that is has some financial difficulties and
Sure,
and
I understand.
and I think we've all been in the place where we put a lot of money, particularly during COVID, a lot of public money into expanding broadband and Wi-Fi around the state. And so I think it has been a state policy that we want to see all of that expanded. Looking at this since nothing has changed since 2004, how do we make a judgment around what's fair?
Yeah, no, I understand the question. Perhaps it's time to look at it. I would say we could work with the utility companies or,
How did they set the rates initially?
I don't know. I wasn't here then. So I don't know, but these were rates. I came in 2010. These were the same rates. So,
Go ahead.
So is there a plan to update the rates or just you like they might be at that rate? And do you need the guidance from the legislature to say you shall update the rate?
I think that's above my pay grade a bit,
Okay.
as far as like whether the administration is looking for us to, look at a rate change. I don't know that the director of rail is gonna say it's time.
Right. But I don't know, have they already decided that it's time or is it just?
No, I haven't heard, nobody's directed me or even brought it up before this.
Okay, because in the past, we have had testimony on this and the sense I got from the agency was that today you're purposely keeping it low because they feel like it's a public good for public other, like why raise the rates on the electric companies or the broadbands? Because they're just gonna have to raise the rates. That just will
Well,
increase.
that is literally what.
So I don't know if that's the policy, so you're purposely not updating it.
Well, it hasn't been that formal, but I can say that we know that there's a administrative directive to increase broadband on the state.
Right.
So this would be sort of counter to that. So I guess it just hasn't been brought up or picked up and looked at, but we do like I said, we do periodically look at land lease rates. Like we keep those up to date.
It's easier to compare.
Yeah, you can do an appraised value in your town and look at how it's changed over the last 5 years or more. So.
Well, that all becomes subjective too. I've had lots of constituents complain that you moved the road and the road base changed. I had one this fall. Road had changed. There was a strip of land. They used to be on the road. They're not now. So they're trying to get across the strip that was, and they were going to be charged a few $1,000s a year and going, I didn't move the road and I bought an original piece of land, so it all becomes subjective. And I totally think it totally legitimate that we have a conscious decision that we want to keep rates low because we want broadband to spread around the state.
Mhm.
But what it does sound like after 21 or 2 years that it may not be a conscious decision now. It may just be that, yeah, any information about the history of this that you can get the committee would be good.
On the last rate change.
Last rate change, any directives about why we wouldn't take a look at the rate, any information in that area.
Or does the agency have a policy that they don't want?
No, this literally has not been a big conversation about it's either time to do it or we're deciding to not do it. That really hasn't been the conversation.
Well, look, I will say in the utility world, at least from, there has been they've tried to move power lines and power poles closer to the right of way. It's better for the countryside. It's better for, if you've got a telephone pole in the middle of a farmer's field,
Yeah.
it's better for everybody that have it. So there's been a conscious decision, I think, to at least with some companies, move in a way that is better for everybody. But that does put more poles within your right of way.
So the highway right of way, which none of this, this doesn't include, this is rail only. The highway right of way doesn't charge utility companies to put wires or poles in their right of way.
That's a policy decision.
There's a state statute for that.
That says no good.
Yeah, it says highways that are not based in the highways.
But
For the public. And
do any of these pay a property tax?
do any of these,
Electric poles do pay a property
Yeah.
tax.
I don't know how they're billed for property tax purposes, but if they're on our property, there's no separate bill for property tax. Cause it's on state property.
Go ahead.
So just relative to the highway, I thought that part of the issue of charging in the highway was that we don't know definitively where the right of way lines are. So I think that's part of the issue, but we can, we should talk about that as we go along. But it would be helpful to know what other states are charging for, especially the category 2 plus the power companies. If you're able to get that information.
The problem, okay. Vermont, not all states own railroads.
Okay. Or what the railroads, actually both, what the railroads are charging and what other states charge. I think that would be helpful for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably get New England Central come in and give you their rates. I don't know that they'll give them to me, but I can ask them.
Okay.
I know they're higher than ours.
When you have a per pole price
Mhm.
and a company's leasing that, or, that one pole, and then they, down the line, they're sharing a pole with another entity, does that happen very often?
It does, and it's the pole owner that pays. So if
Oh, it's the owner of the pole, and
Yes.
then they would
right,
recoup any cost from the sharey or whatever.
yeah, if you're Green Mountain Power and you're on Comcast pole or whatever, it's Comcast that's paying and Green Mountain Power's, however their agreements work together, but we would pay, they would both need a crossing for their own wires, right? So they only,
Yeah.
if they were crossing over, but the pole would be charged to the pole owner.
And it's the same price for a shared pole as it is for privately owned.
Yeah,
Same
poles,
quantity
poles,
pole.
yeah, poles, right? It's just same, one single price for,
Well, if you had 3 users on it, and, you know,
we don't charge them 3 times.
no, I got you.
But they're probably charging the other.
I would guess, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that's typical.
So the pole owner basically in that instance is only paying, well, let's say they split it 50-50. They're paying full price for this pole, and their shared pole down here, they're only paying half because they have somebody sharing. Well, if that's the case,
Yeah, I mean, we would only charge the pole owner, so we,
Right,
we
you
don't
don't
know,
care.
we don't know what happens
and
after
you don't
that.
care.
And no, it's not up to us, right?
Like, yeah, I got you.
Things you don't think about, right, when you're on the
Yeah.
railroad right away,
Yeah,
all this other stuff. Stuff we manage on
Yeah.
a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing the annual report.
yeah. I apologize for the error, math error, but it was.
We will be looking for, any background.
Yeah, I will look back, and ask some people that were here before me, there's a history on the last time we did a utility. I know we haven't done one since I've been here on utilities, but. So,
It's gotten better since COVID, and we dumped in, literally hundreds of millions to expand the system.
mhm,
I just right around Christmas went to the annual meeting of Whale FiberNet. We have a rail trail that has
Yeah.
stuff on it, and the question always comes, what have you done for us lately to help expand the quantifying what the different areas, even if we make the decision that we don't want to change rates. I want to be able to say to the community, we charge a much lower rate for people to be on our property than the private companies do.
yeah, you can say that today, it's 100%, that's that, there's no question about that statement.
Yeah. I just went to the Whale FiberNet meeting. They have their representative there from Fidium,
Mhm.
and and the question, they're thankful for what we've done, but we finished running fiber all through my county. We're one of the first that got
Nice.
and pretty much the conversation in the room is, what are you going to help us with next?
Guys, keep going.
So to be able to quantify something like this and why we've made the decision, it is literally, that was the conversation. This is right, right around Christmas time, they have their annual meeting, and it's like, oh, we just gave you, I can't remember, tens of millions of dollars to run this, and it's not enough.
Right. Is it ever enough?
No. No.
But certainly, utilities like that, take the Illinois Valley Rail Trail for an example, that goes a long way, right? So we have longitudinal occupations, we have stuff that just crosses over directly. So the active rail, Vermont Railway from Bennington basically to Burlington, there's a fiber optic line that goes the entire western side of the state, goes from south to Burlington all the way up. So, the utility companies know where our railroads are, they know where our rail trails are. They want to use them. I mean, unless it's a significant operational issue, we let them in.
Any background you can give us about how they set those rates originally? what directives there are.
So I can tell you, this literally has not been a big conversation at AOT, so there's been no directive to say increase or don't.
Well, whatever you set the rates are, there must be some original statute that gives, authority. And,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
back in 2004.
there must be something that gives you the
Okay.
authority to be able to do this.
Yeah, oh,
So any history about this that you can produce would be.
okay.
Just one other question, there's broadband in the rail trails and the active railroad. Are the rates different?
And it's-
Okay,
and it shows it on that sheet.
okay.
Mr. Chair, are we open to asking other rail-related questions, or are you hoping to spend the majority of the time on the rate simplification?
I Well, I think you're in the chair. I think you're on the hot seat.
I hope I can answer it.
Okay. Well, then I have a couple of general questions kind of
Okay.
about our program, and I know the budget hasn't come out yet. So there's not, you can't fully speak to what is going to happen, but and then I have a specific question about right of ways with a project that's being impacted in my district. So I just want to make sure I pull up the email when I ask you those questions so I can get the
Okay.
right information. But for the first question, we're definitely seeing a negative. We're not going to see as large of a budget this year from AOT. And I'm wondering if that is something that we should expect to see in rail being impacted.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna talk about that today. I can't get ahead of the other folks.
Okay. Are there any, maybe a different way to ask the question to let you be able to provide context? Do you see any major changes to what we saw last year in your plan?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely come in and go over the budget when we're ready. And I can, detail out any changes that have happened between last year and this year at that time, but I probably can't do it today.
Okay. Then I'll ask you my more specific question. So Putney Acres is a solar project that has a right of way issue with us as a state, because they are being told that they can't connect. And they haven't been able to get a response from the rail folks in particular. It looks like it's someone from like AVP from Government Affairs is their representative. I'm wondering if you have any suggestion on if we're experiencing kind of, it seems like a right of way.
Which railroad?
Property
Which railroad is
dispute.
it?
I think it's,
Is it NECR?
yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah, it's NECR.
okay.
And it's Charles
that-
Hunter. I don't know how we can support constituents when they're experiencing rail related issues. I know we had a whole bunch of problems with municipalities who were having difficulty with like running water underneath rail. And in this case, it's an electric connection that's basically delaying a solar project from being interconnected, which feels like a real bummer. So what would your suggestion be to
Okay, so
with
I
the,
mean, Charles is a really good guy. I mean, he's busy. The issue with Charles is he has not just New England Central, he has a whole bunch of railroads from Vermont down the East Coast that he's government affairs director for. So busy guy, not to make that as an excuse for him, but he is a busy guy. And that's not, even though that's his title, government affairs, he would then refer that issue to his property management people, which are in Jacksonville, Florida.
okay, so
So there's a
that's
big
probably-
disconnect, right? Though when you're starting to try to communicate about a Vermont crossing to someone that's sitting in Jacksonville, Florida, you can probably appreciate the difficulty with that. So I certainly am happy to reach out to Charles to see if I can help you with this. Putney, what? Putney?
Putney Green Acres Solar Project.
Okay. Putney.
And it is related to, I believe, their updated site plan, which they're just waiting. There's like an
Is it in Putney?
I don't actually know what the address is. I thought it was in my district, but it might just be because the company is in my district. But it is called Putney Acres, so
Okay, and it's
Feels like-
they're trying to put electrical crossing
That's my-
across the NECR. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about it. I apologize, but I can try to find some information out.
That would be great. Yeah, I think little things like that come up quite a bit for constituents, and I appreciate you explaining that there is a different central office potentially that manages some of those, and I think that delay is a serious thing for.
Yeah, so just so you know, New England Central is one of like 100 railroad companies that Genesee and Wyoming owns. So they are literally worldwide, right? So they're the largest short line railroad in the world.
Hmm.
And so, and their property management division is in Jacksonville, Florida, for all these railroads all across US and even Europe. So, yeah, so they're a big company. And, so sometimes the little things that seem big
Yes.
to them may not seem big. So sometimes you just gotta make some noise. I'll try to do that for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I did just want to compliment you on the great work in White River Junction and the way that you have improved the platform. Is it now ADA accessible? Is it considered?
It is all ADA accessible, new lighting, new bump strips. The whole thing is, it's level now. It was asphalt, it was
Your
asphalt
luggage
before.
doesn't like
It
it.
was asphalt before, so it had some humps in it. Now it's concrete, so it's
Did you get
perfect.
perfect?
I asked about it. And I so appreciate the senator from Washington understanding the need for this topic to be brought up, but it is actually within the historical division, is my understanding. Is this gentleman, we can't interrogate him about it.
It's, I have no authority over the weather thing. It's gone to the historical folks and,
And on other train, topics, should we have Amtrak come in if we just want to hear about the
Oh,
Amtrak?
yeah.
Or should, is that something that you would come in to talk about?
depends what the issue, what are you looking for?
Ridership, that future plans, maybe, maybe it's a combination of you and them, or maybe it's just you.
Yeah, I mean, they have a government affairs person.
But they've come in another year.
Yeah, I think you should ask them to come in. I think they're more than willing to come in and they can bring all that ridership information in and tell you what plans are. The Brattleboro station should be done this summer.
Yeah,
Great.
that's really exciting.
It's really exciting
Yeah.
because it's the first full length high level platform in the state of Vermont.
Right.
Yeah,
Level boarding.
level boarding.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, you used to have to get off at like the park and ride a second.
Yeah, I did it last month. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
that's
a
gonna be a-
snowstorm. It
yeah.
was horrendous.
That that platform's kind of neat because they put heat pipes and things inside
Yeah.
the plat, so they don't have to put salt on the platform.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
gonna stay warm and melt the snow. It's kind of neat, kind of a state of the art
Yeah.
station.
We're excited.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to see.
And we're thinking about making a really big deal at the opening too.
Yeah.
And you all will be invited.
Great. Take the train down
That's what we're talking about.
There you go.
Yeah. we're thinking about
and
it.
then just stay there for the day, then take the train.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we're excited about that.
We have to get permission from your president from Kenny's office.
Yeah, we could have a committee meeting on the train.
There you go.
Or be in separate.
Yeah, are you?
Be nice.
But is it here at your house?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
If we already got the train back, it's like 4 o'clock, I think, at least. Heading north.
Yeah, it's five.
So-
Five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more.
Okay, this is because I know you can't talk about the budget. This is a general question. And it might be,
She's gonna get me in trouble.
I know. I might be.
Make it a quick question, hurry
I
up.
don't know if it's Costa Pappas who I should ask as well. But we have traditionally gotten a waiver for the one stop. What if there's a special type of federal waiver that we've gotten to not have to install like one stop or first stop technology? I might not be using the right term.
Right, so, in Vermont, we don't have, enough trains to trigger, all the signals that are needed, for trains. Like, if you go down into like, New York City, there's just signals all the time, right? The train will have to actually, link up with this software that knows where all the other trains are, so that they can't hit each other, but we don't have to do that in Vermont because we don't have enough trains. If that's what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, I had.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Is it
Okay.
positive train?
Positive train
Positive
control.
train,
I didn't know if you
exactly.
meant
Okay.
train, yeah, positive train.
Yes. And what I had heard was that was our big that's new information, because what I had heard was our big barrier to getting commuter rail to be able to run on most of our lines is because we didn't have positive train.
Okay, so intercity passenger rail, which is what Amtrak is, runs in a different rule book than commuter rail. Okay, if you're in the rule book of commuter rail, you need PTC.
Yes.
So
okay.
we are not in that book of rules. We don't have, we go by number of intercity passenger trains and freight trains combined. And the timing and the schedules to see how close they run. And two trains can't be in the same block of track at the same time with that rule. If you get into commuter rail, you know, you got trains running literally within minutes of each other, and that's when you need PTC.
Okay.
Uh,
So it still is a barrier. I know.
it is a barrier for commuters. So
Yeah.
when you say the word commuter rail and you say intercity passenger, those are different flags that go up for me.
Okay. So the bud cars and the conversation I think we've had in this room about those small trains, like one engine bud cars, those automatically would be considered commuter.
So if they're going back and forth all day, then you're
Yeah.
gonna end up, it's gonna be commuter.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's what FRA is probably gonna consider that.
Okay.
There are seasonal trains that happen, you know, like our Polar Express, you know, that happens. You might consider that if it ran every day as a commuter type train, but because it's seasonal, once every once in a while, you're really walking the line, you know, depending on how many trains you run. So, yeah, I think that's apples and oranges a little bit.
Well, thank you for that.
So.
Into trouble.
Well, you don't know, but I think it.
So thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break and, if you wanna show up in about a half an hour. We've got some schedule. We do have, Hawaii at 11. So if you haven't looked at, this, I would encourage you to take a look at this before